The Clarity Act just became a blame game 7 days before the Senate's last scheduled floor date, August 7th. The XRP price sits at $1.08 tonight, so 1,000 XRP is about $1,000. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent fired the loudest shot. 1.5 million views. He says Senate Republicans made it floor ready and blames Senate Democrats. But Senator Lummis is pointing at a Republican. I'll show you the White House crypto lead boosting an attack on 4 more Republicans. Senator Lummis first on camera. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want more XRP news. Let's roll the first tape. Directly from Crypto America. New. It's the last week before the Senate August recess, and Senator Lummis is done waiting on Democrats. We sit down with her to discuss where the Clarity Act stands. Let's have a listen.
Little to no chance of passing in the next couple of days. Are you still on track for a Senate vote before the August recess?
Yes, I am. We have one more week here in Washington, at least. Yes, there's a lot to do. We have multiple nominations we want to get through. There's talk of a continuing resolution vote. There's the Iran and Ukraine/Russia sanctions vote, and other things that are important on the agenda. But Senator Thune has kept a place for the Clarity Act on the agenda before the August recess for many, many weeks now. And I believe he does intend to go through with it. So we will be proceeding. And I can't tell you whether it's going to be tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday, but we will be moving forward.
Now, does that look like a full Senate procedure where you go through, all of the, cloture, motion to proceed, getting the 60-51 votes, and then passing this thing, or potentially passing this thing before you leave for August recess? Will you have to stay and potentially put recess on hiatus? How could something like that potentially play out? What would that look like?
Well, we have to do 3 votes: a motion to proceed, cloture, and then final passage. And then if there are amendment votes allowed, they will have to proceed in the interim before final passage. It would be hard to squeeze all that into 1 week that starts on a Monday, but not impossible.
That was Senator Lummis sitting down with Crypto in America. The billing on that post says it plainly. It is the last week before the August recess, and she is done waiting on Democrats. This is your XRP news today. Everyone with power over the Clarity Act just spent a day blaming everybody else. Scott Bessent posted inside the last 24 hours. 1.5 million views later, his post is the loudest voice in the fight. But hold on, a sitting Treasury Secretary does not post about the Clarity Act by accident. In his own words, let's take a look on screen. More than a year ago, the House passed the Clarity Act. There's been progress since. Thousands of hours of bipartisan negotiations took place at the staff and member levels. It's disappointing but not surprising that Senate Democrats are choosing politics on the cusp of a major victory for American leadership. The Senate needs to vote now on this landmark legislation. The truth is that the Senate Democrats are afraid to advance the Clarity Act as they fear Senator Warren and the anti-crypto army she once promised to build. In the days ahead, Leader Thune will put his theory to the test. Will Senate Democrats be on the side of the American exceptionalism, or will they opt to cede American leadership of a global industry for fear of a bespeculated squirrel's left flank? America will lead or America won't. It's not more complicated than that. I believe Satoshi said it best. If you don't believe me or don't get it, I don't have time to try and convince you. Sorry. More than a year since the House passed the Clarity Act. That is his opening line. Thousands of hours of bipartisan negotiations. In his telling, all of that work lands on one question. For every XRP holder, is there actually a product ready to vote on? Floor ready, waiting for a vote. That is the Treasury Secretary's own status report on the Clarity Act. Both Senate committees advances their pieces in their own words. If he's right, XRP's biggest catalyst is not stuck in a drafting room. It's sitting at the door of the Senate floor with 7 days on the clock. Treasury Secretary blames Senate Democrats. That's his case, but Senator Lummis, XRP's loudest champion, is counting votes inside her own party. Terrett posted what Lummis told them. and one name leads. Josh Hawley, Republican. In Lummis's words, Hawley is really resistant. He did not vote for the Genius Act, and Terrett reports the expectation is he will not vote for the Clarity Act either. That is an expectation, not a locked no. Talks with the office are said to be ongoing. Before you pick a villain, tell me in the comments, does the Clarity Act pass before the August recess or after? Tap the like and subscribe and the notification bell while you're down there. Here's Terrett's post, word for word, on the record. Lummis told us Senator Hawley is really resistant. He didn't vote for the Genius, and expectation is that he also won't vote for the Clarity Act. Let's actually take a listen to the clip.
But when it comes to the Republicans, obviously there's going to be not much room for defections there. How confident are you in the level of support within your own conference at this point in time?
It's very high. The level of support is very high among Republicans. Will we be unanimous? I don't think so. There are people like Josh Hawley who I just think are really resistant. And, that's fine. But I do think we'll have an overwhelming majority and nearly unanimous, quite frankly.
An expectation is not a vote, and his office is still talking. Hold that thought. Now the third corner of this blame game, and I'll be honest, it surprised me. Brendan Pedersen posted a screenshot. He says shows White House crypto leader Patrick Witt retweeting an attack from the head of the Club for Grow. The targets for Republican senators, Coyne and Langford. You'll see the exact insult right here on your screen. White House crypto leader Patrick Witt can be seen here retweeting a post from the head of Club for Grow that calls Senator Rounds, Curtis, Coyne, Langford uninformed shills for the community bankers. We can see here, in fact, you are stopping the Clarity Act from passing. The banks will be much worse off and have zero protection. That's the White House's own crypto lead per Pedersen's post, posting an attack on 4 Republican senators with XRP's floor window 7 days away. The exact phrase in that attack is the tell, and it points at the same false Terrett reporting keeps finding. Words themselves up close. Uninformed chills for the community bankers. Those are the attacker's words, not mine. But look at what that insult admits. The fight inside the Republican family is about the banks, and it matches Terrett's reporting. The remaining Republican resistance appears driven by the banking sector concerns over the Clarity Act's stablecoin yield section. The yield fight sounds complicated, but give me 30 seconds and it won't be. Digital dollars are cash that moves on rails. Like the XRP Ledger, the yield section decides whether holding a digital dollar can pay you anything. Ripple's RLUSD is a digital dollar living on the XRP Ledger. Whatever that section says on the day the Clarity Act passes, RLUSD operates under it. So when the banking sector leans on senators over that section, as Terrett reporting describes, that is XRP's business. And Terrett's last lines say the section may already be moving, the back half of her post. Here she says, one plugged-in industry source told me yesterday, given the pressure from bank lobby and some Republican concerns, they expect at least some changes to the yield section before the bill reaches the floor, although unclear if the tweaks would be enough to satisfy the banks. One plugged-in industry source told Terrett they expect at least some changes to the yield section before the Clarity Act. That source says it's unclear whether the tweaks would even satisfy the banks, and the loudest attack inside the family is about the banks, which tells me the banks believe the Rails XRP holders own are real. In my read, nobody spends this much muscle on something they expect to fail. The Senate's last scheduled floor date is Friday, August 7th, the recess from 10th of August to September 11. If next week slips, the Clarity Act does not disappear. It reschedules in September. You'll know either way within days. XRP does not need one villain to lose. XRP needs a floor vote, whether you blame Democrats, Hawley, or the bank lobby. XRP holders walk into August owning the exact rails the whole fight is about. I like our side of the fight. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.